idea of what the contestants are going to perform that night. It does not influence their comments for the actual broadcast performance. Besides, the judges only give opinions. It's America who decides. And I know there was someone else who basically said, come on, the judges aren't swaying the voters. Well, that's not true. That's a crock right there.
Absolutely. You know, and saying that the dress rehearsals doesn't sway what the judges say,
that's
well,
a crock too.
It does, because we saw what happened last night with Paula. And in fact, if you rewind to Andrew Lloyd Webber week, David Archuleta actually missed a big chunk of lyrics during his performance of Think of Me, and none of the judges called him on it. And I had a moment where I was like, am I watching the same performance as them? And, you know, maybe I wasn't. You do see a lot of times during the contestants' performances, Simon and Paula and Randy don't really seem to be paying attention. They're looking around, they're talking to each other. You know, and I think for what they're being paid, it would be nice if they could pay attention to what's happening in front of them and comment only on that.
Yeah, and I think that should have been part of their explanation, and maybe just to say, either we won't watch them or rest easy, America, we're not judging on the dress rehearsals. And I know, Michael, you write a review of after each Idol episode, so
right.
You are an expert on this show. With all this said, we've talked about, is the show's credibility really hurt? Does the show take a hit from this?
I think it hurts the credibility of the show a little bit, sure. I think an apology certainly would have been appropriate, especially to Jason Castro, who heard a critique of a performance that he hadn't even given yet, and in fact it was a negative critique, and then minutes later he was asked to go out there and perform. That's kind of tough. You know, I was a little bewildered as a viewer at home watching the show. I had to hit pause on my DVR and say, did I just see that? Did I just hear that? So I would imagine for him, he must have thought, you know, well, clearly he knows he's going to get slammed by the judges. When you get slammed by Paula, you know nobody's going to like your performance.
That's a great point
because she's generally the nice judge. And, you know, he had to go through that. And I do feel, you know, it was also odd that they sent Paula out for some live damage control the day after the show. On Wednesday morning, she was on Ryan Seacrest's radio show. I believe she did an interview with Entertainment Tonight, and she actually gave conflicting reports.
Right, it wasn't clear, exactly.
So again, I don't think Paula Abdul is the person you want handling a live damage control situation. She seems to struggle with words, which is kind of odd for someone who's got her job, but, you know, everyone sort of says, oh, wacky Paula,
you
know, et cetera, et cetera. But
nice person, but not the person you want handling the PR on that front. Michael Slezak, appreciate your time. Thanks, Michael.
Thanks.
Well, this next story hits home to any parent who's ever made a mistake. Got a baseball game, brought his 7-year-old